In this explainer of business yoga in real life, we will talk about the difference between standard of living and standard of life.
Why do we often improve our comfort, but still feel something is missing within? We spend so much of our time and energy working incredibly hard. We're constantly pushing ourselves to earn more, to buy better things, to upgrade our homes, and generally just create this really high level of comfort around us. But here's the catch. Despite all of these external upgrades, so many of us still feel stressed, restless, or honestly just kind of unfulfilled. It's a massive paradox, right? But it's one that almost all of us bump into at some point in our professional and personal journeys.
And that brings us right to our first core concept, the missing piece within.
In Mr. Anil Kariwala's insightful book, Business Yoga, he points out this really fundamental duality of the human experience. Basically, there's a huge distinction between our material realities, the stuff we own, the titles on our resumes, the money we make, and our inner conscious experience. Essentially, we are all living two lives at exactly the same time. There's the life happening all around us and the life happening deeply within us. And to actually thrive, we've got to recognize and nurture both halves of that equation.
So let's break down the first half of this duality, the standard of living.
We need to define exactly what we mean here. The standard of living is all about material comfort, convenience, financial growth, and external progress. And the business world is an absolute powerhouse when it comes to this progress. Think about it. Business creates the products we use every single day, the services we rely on, the jobs that pay our bills, and the tech that literally connects us across the globe. It brings us modern homes, the ability to travel, economic progress, the whole shebang. It is expertly designed to help people live comfortably and grab opportunities in the external world.
And this brings us to a quote from the text that absolutely hits the nail on the head. Business yoga does not reject money, growth, or success. I want to be super clear about this because it's a pivotal point in the source material. Pursuing material success is completely valid. Comfort matters. Earning a good living, scaling a business, creating economic value, these are fantastic things. But as the book points out, comfort alone just can't answer life's deeper questions. It's a gorgeous foundation, for sure, but it is not the entire house.
That realization shifts our focus inward. Let's look at what it means to elevate our standard of life.
Unlike those external metrics we were just talking about, the standard of life is defined entirely by the quality of our inner experience. We're talking about inner balance, peace, clarity, discipline, trust, fulfillment, and purpose. It measures things like how peaceful are you when you actually wake up in the morning? How meaningful does your daily work feel? How honestly are you living? And how balanced are your decisions? You see, it's not about the luxury car you drive to the office, it's about the state of your mind and the calm in your chest while you're driving it.
Now, this is exactly where the concept of yoga seamlessly steps into the professional sphere. And no, we aren't just talking about rolling out a mat in the break room for some stretches, though, hey, that's great too. The deeper purpose of yoga, as the text explains, is to harmonize the body, mind, and consciousness. It actively improves our standard of life because it teaches us the awareness, the discipline, and the conscious action we need to actually elevate our inner world. It provides the ultimate toolkit for managing your mind amidst the absolute chaos of business.
Now that we've got these concepts defined, let's talk about bridging the gap. Imagine this stark, real-life contrast. On one side, you've got a gorgeous, state-of-the-art office. On the other, a grinding, daily sense of anxiety. You could have someone who has immense outer comfort. Maybe they finally got that coveted corner office, a massive salary bump, all the corporate perks, but they completely lack a sense of purpose. They're just anxious every single day. Their external standard of living is through the roof, but their internal standard of life is seriously suffering.
And this imbalance doesn't just mess with individuals, it totally disrupts entire organizations. Just imagine a company pulling in incredibly high revenue, smashing every financial target, but operating with zero trust among its employees. A team might have the most advanced, expensive software systems money can buy, but if they suffer from a toxic culture, terrible communication, and constant infighting, well, the business might look like a total success on paper externally, but internally, it is failing its people.
To sum up this contrast, think about it like this. The standard of living is constantly asking, what do I have? It's totally focused on comfort and convenience. The standard of life, on the flip side, asks, how do I live? It focuses its lens on consciousness, peace, and meaning. One paradigm asks, how comfortable is my life? While the other asks, how conscious and peaceful is my life? They are fundamentally different questions, which means they require entirely different metrics to answer.
So, how do we synthesize all of this? Let's look at conscious business in practice.
The core takeaway here is that business yoga doesn't force you to pick a side.
You do not have to choose between being a successful business person or being a centered, mindful person. The whole idea is that business improves our outer life and yoga improves our inner life. When we consciously bring them together, our daily work totally transforms. It becomes way more than just a way to earn a paycheck. It actually becomes a path of purpose, contribution, self-awareness, and holistic growth.
Let's walk through this incredibly practical checklist for leaders and professionals that we pulled right from the text. Before you go chasing next quarter's growth, ask yourself, is this growth actually aligned with our core values? Before making a massive strategic pivot, measure the true impact. Will this just pad our profit margins, or will it also build trust and well-being? We need to measure meaning, not just numbers. Before pushing your team to work harder, ask, are we working with true clarity, or are we just crushed under immense pressure? And finally, before popping the champagne for a big win, ask if it actually brought joy and balance to the people involved.
When we look at organizations as a whole, conscious businesses have to improve both sides of the coin. They absolutely must provide economic value, great products, services, and jobs, but right alongside that, they need to foster human well-being through a culture of respect, ethics, and purpose. The source material gives a really clear warning here. A business that improves only comfort might become wildly successful on the outside, but it will inevitably end up hollow on the inside. A business that improves both? Now that becomes truly sustainable, deeply meaningful, and genuinely joyful.
Let's slow down for just a second here. Take a moment to really process the weight of these concepts. Are we building only a better lifestyle, or are we actively building a better life? Are we using our business solely as a tool to create wealth, or are we also using it to create real meaning in the world? Ask yourself honestly, are our current super aggressive goals actually improving our inner peace, or are they literally just cranking up the pressure we feel every single day?
Think deeply about your own daily routine for a second. Is your work connected to a deeper purpose, or is it tied only to performance metrics? Look, it is so easy to get caught up in the numbers, the KPIs, the outward markers of corporate success. But I challenge you to evaluate the true driver behind your daily professional efforts. When you sit down at your desk every morning, what is the actual fuel keeping you going?
So I want to leave you with a very direct prompt right now. What is one single, immediate action you can take today to start fostering your inner balance? It doesn't have to be some massive structural change to your whole company. Maybe it's literally just taking 5 minutes of quiet, conscious reflection before your next high-stakes meeting. Or maybe it's actively using that checklist we discussed before you fire off a high-pressure email. Just find that one tangible thing to elevate your inner experience today.
Ultimately, business beautifully improves how we live externally, and the timeless principles of yoga deeply improve how we experience life internally. True, holistic success requires us to pay close attention to both. So the real question is not only how much we improve our standard of living, but how deeply we elevate our standard of life.
If this explainer resonated with you, subscribe to the channel for more content. And please, share your thoughts in the comments. What does standard of life mean to you? Thank you so much for taking the time to explore these vital concepts with us. And I look forward to guiding you through more fascinating ideas next time.